Hey guys, so it's Aaron the Ho from Mobile Reviews. I guess you would know that by now if you watch my live streams. But one of the things I am curious about, I guess the first thing I have to say is that I'm sorry for not, I totally forgot to reset up the live stream. So I promised I'd try to do one of these once a week at this point in time. So I do apologize for that ahead of time. But the thing I want to talk about during this live session, I'm trying to figure out when I want to make a video about upgrading, from an iPhone, we'll say iPhone 6 to a 7, like what are some of the criteria you guys go with in terms of upgrading devices? Now, I'm having a hard time with this because when a new device comes out, I'm just going to go buy it because, well, that's kind of what I've set up my channel to be. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about when upgrading your phone. One of the things for me personally would be, I would set a limit about 6 months. So 6 months after a new iPhone has been released, then I probably would wait till the next iteration. Anything before the 6 month period, I would probably upgrade to that current iteration. So that's really the only rule that I have, and I'm not sure what other things people look for. And this is probably going to be a very unique thing to every individual because, if you don't take a lot of pictures, then going from a 6 plus to a 7 plus, that awesome camera isn't going to matter much to you. So I'd like to know what you guys think about, or what sort of criteria you guys go through in your minds before upgrading your device, or do you just do it because your contract says you can? So, hey Taha, I just first. You say it's when your phone gets really slow. Computer Corner says every new iPhone ever. Now, for me, because I can write it off and stuff, that's fine. But doesn't that get expensive for you, Computer Corner? Oh, Verizon has an every iPhone every year program. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Now, would there be any reason, Apple, that you would skip one? Would you get money back or anything for that? Riley Croson says he upgrades or she upgrades every 2 years. So does Owen Carrera. Zhu Yi Zong, live? Yes, live. Every year, I like to be updated. Feeble says, wow, you guys are spending a lot of money on iPhones. Sebas V. Mij, keep up your great channel. Oh, thanks. I buy my iPhones outright, unlocked, no contracts, baby. Yeah, no, I kind of do the same thing. But what would be, so if somebody was to ask you guys, so all you chronic upgraders, would they upgrade? So if they've got an iPhone 6S, which is what this thing is, what would you convince them? What would you say to convince them to upgrade to something like the iPhone 7 or the 7 Plus? I'm trying to figure out that workflow in my head. What would you guys suggest? Bradley 14 says, when my phone doesn't work well anymore. So that's with an iPhone, every 3-4 years? Silly Sika, I buy a new phone when the old one gets slow. So at what point in time does it get slow? Because if I'm staring at one phone, the speed is relative, right? Because I'm not looking at a newer phone and going, it's so incredibly slow. One of the people who helps me review cases, Agata, she didn't notice how slow her iPhone 6 Plus was until I lent her a 7 Plus for her to test a bunch of cases. So until you get to that point where you think it's slow, like when do you know it's slow? I guess is my question to Silly Sika. Tyler Johnson, you do with every program? Wow, you guys are lucky with that program. Shelby Snake says, my dog is cute. You guys stay tuned. I've got something cooking with just Monty. It's completely review unrelated. It's going to be Instagram and Facebook, but it's 100% Monty. I've got almost everything set up right now. It should be pretty fun, but do stay tuned to that. Jack Redmond's asking me what the next iPhone is going to be like. It's going to be completely different, Jack. Or give away old phone to the wife. I do that as well. I would say the older the phone, the slower it is. Yes, I do agree, Karshay fam. But at what point in your mind do you start registering that it is slow? I guess if you are a social person and you see other people with newer phones, then you can compare. But if I was sitting here by myself and I didn't see anybody, like I don't know what that concept of fast or slow would be. Maybe I'm getting a little too meta. Better battery life. That would be a big one. I think. I do remember going from the 4S to like the 5 and seeing an improvement. Like each iteration of the iPhone seems to get a little better in terms of battery life. For the 7s and the 7 Pluses, I can go a couple days without recharging my phone. Whereas this is my first iPhone. This is a 3G. I think it's a 3GS. And I remember having to charge the thing, at least once during the day and then at night as well. So I guess battery life would be a big one. I'm gonna write that one down. Battery life. What else do you guys got for me? Ron R says you trade in every 2 years or when the contract expires. That's kind of a constant theme. Yes, Sebas, just spending money just so that you get the newest. I know how that feels. It's such an awful feeling, but if you could afford it, I guess it's okay. But a lot of energy goes into making these things. It's just, I don't know, I get buyer's remorse, I guess, when I buy new phones. Silly Sick has 2 to 4 years. Karshay, pet your dog. Here you go, Karshay. Abraham Garcia. Abraham. I usually wait 2 years when the big changes come, which kind of makes sense. I guess that's another way to look at it, the big changes. For a while there, I was going with the skipping. I was planning on, if I wasn't doing the review channel, skipping the regular number and always going with the S's. Only because, in my mind, I thought that Apple would iron out all the bugs and stuff in the design. And I guess they still kind of do that, but they end up not just refining the product, they end up adding some other stuff into it. So it's this constant cycle of upgrades, whereas in the physical enclosure may look the same, but the internals are completely different. Like between the 6S and the 7, you can't go get a 6S screen and put it into the 7 because stuff is completely different in the back, as I've learned about a month ago. Jack Redmond is asking, should I upgrade to the 7 or should I wait till the iPhone 8 comes out? So the iPhone 8 will come out in September. You'll get it in October. So this is the line. So if you wait a couple weeks more, Jack, I wouldn't get the iPhone 7. I'd wait until the 8 or until the 7S comes out, which apparently that's going to happen, which is weird to me. But any time before, 6 months before the new iPhone gets released, I would get the newer one. My opinion. Ken Van Tassel, Monty is the best dog. He is pretty awesome. Like this little buddy is so obedient. Like it's crazy how loving and obedient Monty is. It's a funny story because I got him when I was a single dude, and I primarily got him to meet chicks. And I remember reading the book by Cesar Millan, and he said, you got to let the dog choose you. And so I went to the breeder, and they laid out these 4 puppies in front of me, and there was 2 blondes, 1 brindle, and Monty. And they were all asleep, and they were incredibly cute. And all the puppies started waking up, and they started playing. So the 2 blonde brothers, they were just crap stirrers. They started barking, run around. One of them ended up taking a crap in the middle of the room. The brindle was Monty's sister, and she was cute. And she was bouncing around, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll go with her, until she stood in front of me, leapt up, and bit my pants. I was like, whoa, 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 that's not cool. And then Monty finally wakes up, walks in front of me, and sits down and stares at me. That's how Monty chose me. That's how I got stuck with him. It's pretty awesome. Okay, back to the questions. Jack Redmond, when the phone starts lagging or it can't handle multiple tabs being open. Now, I guess the multiple tabs, like for me, what gets annoying about the internet is that websites tend to add more and more crap, like autoplay videos, autoplay audio, and that stuff really kills the browser. Like these browsers are getting faster, the iPhones are getting faster. Like your iPhone 6 is way faster than what the 3G is, but because the websites have gotten more data heavy, more content heavy, it seems slower, and that's brutal. Like I hate those web pages that go on and like this video starts playing, and it's like this video from this tiny, this big on the screen, but it's just like somebody speaking in my mind. Like it makes me incredibly frustrating. And it's one of those things that you'll never see on my website because I find it annoying. I'm sure most people find it. For some reason, Jack says iPhone batteries get old when they start turning off at 20%. Yes, but the batteries is probably one of the easiest things to replace if you go to iFixit. Like I think an iPhone 5S battery is like $80, and they give you all the tools to replace it. Easy Rodriguez upgrades every 2 years. Riley, my old phone barely lasts until 5 without being plugged in. Blaze seriously is saying dual camera and better specs, and I think with the iPhone 7 Plus, like if if you like taking pictures, the camera on the iPhone 7 Plus is probably the best camera I've used on a smartphone. Mind you, I've only been using iPhone cameras and the Samsung S's cameras. The 7 Plus's camera is pure gold. That would be one of the main reasons I would go to the 7 Plus. Ken Van Tassel says buy the S year, and that totally makes sense to me. Steve Rowe, what about scratch-proof sapphire screens? If they can do it, it'd be cool. Sounds expensive. I think if they would have done it, if it was financially feasible, I think they would have already done it. I don't expect the iPhone 8 to have a sapphire screen. I don't think the next couple of years the iPhones won't. Just my gut feeling. Matthew Bradley says, mouse case so damn heavy, surprised you didn't knock it for that. The weight gets factored into all my case scores. Now, it comprises a very small portion of the score. So it gets knocked down for weight, but it's a tiny portion. Like out of like 27 criteria, it's 1 out of 27. So if it's an incredibly heavy case, the overall effect on the score isn't that great. Owen Ahmad says, what's my full-time job? It's this. What breed is my dog, jackass? It's a Monty. Monty is a Schnauzer Poodle cross. Matthew Bradley. Best out of a K11 and Belkin glass and pop sockets. Matthew Bradley, I disagree. It would be a K11 with their edge-to-edge screen protector and the pop socket. Blaze, I got the 6S Plus, and it's still one of the fastest phones. Currently, yes. Lisan Yager, I upgrade after 2 years at least, but only if I want the new phone or need it for some odd reason. And I guess it's fair to have some sort of, process and questions to go through. Planned obsolescence, will this always be a thing? Jack asked. I don't think so. Like with Apple, they're pretty good. Like, I don't really have anything bad to say about the planned obsolescence for Apple because, what is it? The 5s are still supported with the current iOS 10 or 5S, which is 4 years. And that's probably 2 years longer than any Android phone out there. So I think it will always be the case, planned obsolescence. But for Apple, I'm not too concerned with it. Like my MacBook Pro Retina 2012, like nothing's wrong with it. I'm going to keep using it until it completely dies. I gotta skip forward. I love the iPhone 7 Plus's camera. Jonathan Scissor, can I get a shout out? Yeah, you just got it. Steve Rowe. Abraham Garcia, will you ever do a comparison with retail cases and eBay knockoffs? The answer is no, because my reviews are based on actual products, right? And so I want to support mentally, even if I don't give a good review, I want to support those companies that put in the time to the market to design their own cases. I don't feel like I should be giving companies that just copy crap and call it their own any sort of credit. That's just my opinion. If you put in the work, you get the rewards. And so kind of how that comes into my mind is you're a real company, you do the real marketing, you do the real design. I'm going to support your products. Somebody copies you and just rips you off, then no. Cost is always a thing. I do understand that. But I just feel like as a creative individual, I feel that other creative companies should be rewarded for their efforts. Johnny Elmer is asking me how many phones have I bought throughout my life. So I've been buying phones since 2000. So my first phone was an Ericsson phone. It was not Sony Ericsson. It was an Ericsson phone. So about every 2 years, I would cycle out a phone. Until 2011, where I've been buying them, like I'll buy 6, 7, 8, 9 a year because I break them, sell them, break them, sell them. If you watched the live stream from last week, I kind of explained why I've started slowing down the buy cycle because it's cheaper for me just to replace things outright all the time if I'm breaking my iPhones more than 5 times. Um, iPhone SE or iPhone 6S, Jonathan asks. Really depends. At this point right now, I would probably go still maybe the SE because it has the internals of the 6S, I think. But once the SE gets upgraded, and I think that's going to happen probably during June's WWDC, I'm guessing. Definitely the SE because it'll have most iPhone 7 specs in it. Christian Diaz, what is my preferred phone brand? It's gonna be. Well, no, that's not true. So if I was to segment it out based on time, in the early 2000s, it was the Nokia 3310. I love that phone. Towards the end of 2000s, I had a Nokia 5590, and it was about this wide and about twice as thick. I have it downstairs. I'll bring it out someday. And that was the coolest thing ever because it was the size of a very thin chocolate bar, like one of those score bars. It was like that size. And that to me was the greatest phone. The T9 predictive text, pretty awesome. It had a decent camera. I bought it in Thailand when I was out on a business trip. And that was probably the coolest phone I've ever bought. Now in the 2000s, my preferred phone brand is obviously Apple. Lots of Apple iPhones. Alyssa and Yager, sorry if this was already said before, but my favorite case for the iPhone 7, I've got a full video for that. I've got top 10 lists. This Poetic Affinity is somewhere in that list. I'm a big fan of that. I'm reviewing that this week. I've got an OtterBox Symmetry with a custom print on it. I don't have it here, but a Symmetry with a custom print, that's something that's pretty awesome as well. Thule Atmos X4 is still a go-to favorite. There was some other case that was higher. The Loopy case. I really like the Loopy case. I still have my first phone ever, an iPhone 6S Plus. Patrick Reddy. Nice. Aiden Hosa, what was your question? Risk Clips, what made you get started on YouTube? That background story was, I used to run a consultancy, information management consultancy, and I wanted to build apps to show clients, potential clients, what you can do with social media data. It ended up being way funner to create content rather than analyzing that data. So I lost a bunch of contracts, decided that was it for me. I didn't feel like spending all my time smiling at clients who just couldn't really understand what I was talking about. And so I got rid of my employees, got rid of the rest of my contracts, and decided to do this full time. Paycheck sucks doing this because everything's still kind of small, but it's way funner. Having way more fun doing this. Emmett Anderson, I had an iPhone 6, went through 2 replacement batteries because they were AT&T refurbished, do not buy. Now I have an iPhone 5 because I got it free from someone else. Still works fine, but won't get iOS 11. Yeah. So Emmett, what would prompt you to buy a new iPhone at this point in time? I'm curious. I saved a long time. Yeah. It's like, if you get a really big sized iPhone, it's like $1,000. Stephen Sky, hey from St. Louis. Hi, St. Louis. So, I've been talking of. Excuse me. So, you guys have any other comments about what prompts you guys to upgrade your phones? Because it sounds like right now, a lot of you, it's just driven by your contracts. It's driven by the programs that these wireless companies have with you guys. Now, one of the things I was thinking about in terms of those wireless companies is how much of their marketing affects how you deal with them. Because over here in Canada, we've got the major ones are Bell, Rogers, and TELUS, and they're kind of like the Verizons, AT&Ts, and whoever else, the US. And so I'm always curious. One of the things I really want to do is to buy like 4 different plans from the 4 major providers and do speed tests across all of them. Would stuff like that be of interest to you guys? Let me know in the comments. Max Tolman says, I buy a new iPhone every year because I like to keep the trade-in value of my current iPhone. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, totally makes sense. Georgia. Hey, Georgia. Hey, Jordan Smith from Georgia. Patrick Reddy, my mom let her iPhone 6S fall from a lift in the mountains. About 16 meters with the Rhino shield honeycomb. Nothing happens. Awesome. It's a good case, good protective case. Jordan Smith, I would be better to upgrade because you always want to get the bigger, better phone. And I do agree, but at a certain point, it's a lot of. It seems almost wasteful in a sense. Like it kind of weighs heavily on me that I got all these phones, and I will recycle them and they will be put to good use. But it's just this stuff isn't exactly critical to my life. Emmett Anderson, yeah. Aiden, I'm going to say this one more time. Ask your question, and I'll answer it. G's 2900. If I had iPhone 8 as a huge update, I would consider upgrading from iPhone 7 Plus. And I have a feeling the 8 is going to be like completely redesigned from what we've seen so far from Apple. But I think it's going to cost an arm and a leg. I think you might be able to get I think you're going to be able to get a mid-grade MacBook Pro 13-inch for the price of an iPhone 8. It's going to be that ridiculous. Risk Clips, I love to stay up to date with the hottest tech. I have every update, I have every Apple product up to MacBook Pro Touch 15. Lucky Duck. Lucky Duck Risk Clips, what up? Thanks for the review of the Griffin Survivor. You made me buy it. I'm glad you enjoy that review. The Survivor is probably the best tough case that I've reviewed so far for the 6s and the 7s. Max Tolman, yes, headed to Canada in a few weeks for Sir, Max, Canada is a great place to visit. Lots of mountains, and there's a whole lot of nobody around. Stephen Sky, I just buy a new phone only when my old phone doesn't hold battery very well. So Stephen Sky, have you considered, if the battery wasn't a problem, would you keep using that old phone? So I mentioned this before, iFixit, they sell battery packages. So you can easily buy a brand new battery for like $80 for an iPhone 5, and it'll last you another 6 to 8 months for $80. Mitt Sanderson is saying it would be cool to do this comparison. It would be. I was working out. It'd be a couple $1,000s, I think. No, about $1,000 in terms of plans and everything. What up? Upgrades every 2 years. Dan Stoica, need to upgrade more often than 2 years. Yeah. 6 Plus. This is a 6 Plus, and I do agree it gets kind of annoying. And I get annoyed with the 6 Plus because the camera is a little slower than the 6S Plus, or the 6S, which is still a little slower than the 7, which is not good as the 7 Plus. I hope they change the naming for iPhones because right now it makes no sense. iPhone 7 equals 9th iPhone. Yeah, but at least they're going sequentially up. Unlike, what was it? The Note 7? There was no Note 6. There was a Note 5. With the 7 literally exploded, and I don't know what they're going to do next. Note 8? Aiden Hosa. For the Aux Defender iPhone 6, what do you plus the built-in screen protector, or just use the built-in one and take the built-in out glass screen protector? A lot of people are doing what you've just said, is to take the front panel off a Defender and use a glass screen protector with it. A lot of people do it. It works fine. I would suggest going with the built-in or a glass screen protector. I wouldn't go with both because then you deal with the extra gap. Will feel the plastic screen protector because the iPhone with the glass screen protector will create a little bulge and you will feel the gap between that. But people do it all the time. I've never done it because I just don't see the point of getting rid of a built-in screen protector. If you're going to do that, just buy a regular case. If you need something tougher, you go get the OtterBox Commuter or the Symmetry, or not as tough, we'll say. Goncala Furia. Right now, if you need to choose a cell phone to use for a year, what phone would it be? Be the 7 Plus. Matt, for Apple, thoughts on the Spigen Ultra Hybrid 2 with the weird holes on the back? I've got a bunch of Ultra Hybrid 2s downstairs. I have not unboxed them. Speaking something, I got them yesterday. so I haven't had time to unbox them. I will take a look at them after I film the Poetic Revolution, Affinity, and Quarterback reviews. Right after I'm done this live stream, I'll go take a look at those new speaking cases. Deadpool. Captain Deadpool. I used to get new phones every 6 months to different phones. Now I just have a 5S for 1 year. I'm sticking with it till the contract ends. That makes sense. Steve Van Thielen, is a screen protector enough for protection for daily use? I'm using an iPhone 7. If you watched my last screen protector video, or the last video, or one of the last videos I uploaded this past weekend, I talk about it, and right off the bat, it's like the bare minimum, I think. I would be okay. Like, I think a bare minimum is to have, you don't need a case per se for the 7s, but you definitely need a screen protector. That's just my opinion. I would buy a thicker iPhone if it meant longer battery life. So if you were to buy a thicker iPhone, would you, I guess you'd be okay just getting would it be okay if you were to just get a battery case, Max? Anirig Sanad, yeah, every year. Smiley face, yeah, every year. Aiden Hosa, what's more protective, built-in or glass? So Aiden, go to my channel and look at the plastic or glass screen protector video that I did, and I go in detail which one's better for what purposes. Blaze seriously is asking if there's going to be an iPhone 7s. That's what the rumors are saying. There's going to be an iPhone 8, which is going to be in limited supply, not because Apple won't be able to produce them, but Apple's going to purposely reduce the amount they make to make it seem like they're constantly selling out. So there'll be the iPhone 8, and then there'll be a 7S, which I'm assuming is going to be the same size as the 7, which is the same size as the 6 and the 6Ss. I'm not too fond of that. Anirig Sania, currently using iPhone 7 Plus, and man, it's hard to switch from Android to iOS. Yeah, what was hard about it? I've kind of gotten to a point where the only thing that I miss when using an Android phone is AirDrop. Everything else I've been able to do. I don't customize anything. Everything I use out of the box for Android, so those things don't really affect me that much in terms of my day-to-day process. Monty's taking a timeout. Steven Sky, is the Rhino Shield bumper case as good as it says, or is there a better bumper that you recommend? So if you just go to probably easiest would be go to my website and just search the Rhino Shield crash guard. You'll see all the videos I've done for it. I've dropped it from 11 feet. I've done part of the 40 plus drops with all the evolutive Rhino Shield playproof things. It's a tough bumper, and it's great for people who want the minimalist bumper look and feel. But if you just want, and it's protective, if you just want a bumper, I would definitely check out the K11 bumper. That thing is pretty cool. Justin Yang, what's the best waterproof case for the iPhone SE? So that would have been 5Ss. The best waterproof case of that grouping, if you're just looking for a pure waterproof case, would probably be, the LifeProof Free is always a good choice. The OtterBox Preserver, I don't know if they make them anymore, was a really good case for the iPhone SE. If you need to do snorkeling stuff, the Optics XD6 or the Hit Case. Yeah, the Hit Case Pro was pretty awesome for the iPhone 5S SEs. Charles Lemoyne, is the Urban Armor Gear Monarch a good case? I've done a full review for it. The Urban Armor Gear Monarch sits, I think, number 3 or 4 on my top 10 list. Go to my website, look at the top 10 list, you'll see the Monarch sitting there. It's a decent case. Thicker, fancy, but pretty awesome. Max Tolman, past few days I've been hesitant on buying Mophie battery case for the 7 Plus. The thing with the Mophie cases is that they're massive. Like, it's just so big. I reviewed one for the iPhone 7 Plus. That's the one in the video. And it is, I don't think I would use it as an everyday case because, like, the 7 Plus itself is big. Like, this case has the OtterBox statement, and the statement itself isn't a big case, but it makes the iPhone 7 Plus feel like a beast. And, like, my hands aren't terribly small, but this is difficult for me to order around, we'll say. Stonesy, have I missed the opportunity to upgrade from the iPhone 6? Stonesy, if you were to do it right now, maybe still go for it. But if you wait another 2 weeks, then no. Like, 6 months is the cutoff line in my head. Jordan Smith, what's the best case you would ever recommend for the iPhone 6 with the iLume ScreenMate Max? That's a tough one because the ScreenMate Max is an edge-to-edge screen protector, if I remember correctly. but it's not adhesive. So it almost might work with any case. I don't remember. Sorry, I can't answer that. But my guess would be it would work with most cases. Currently have the Rhino shield on right now. Probably the best minimal cases. However, it's to my width. My friends don't like it, but I love it. Yeah, and that's a fair comment, Max. It is a wider case, but when you're holding it like this, you don't really notice that width. And the actual bump on the extra width actually helps with the handling usage. Charles Lemoyne, are you from Calgary? I'm from Edmonton. Charles, I used to live in Edmonton. Well, for a year, anyways. Parents are from Edmonton. No, my dad went to school in Edmonton. So did my mother. Zach O'Keefe, 16. I'm looking for a battery case for the iPhone SE. What should I get? The iPhone 5S's, I think it was the juice packs that I liked the most for the 5S SEs. Aaron Castor, so this is going to be the last question. I normally upgrade, I guess, statement. Every 2 to 3 years, contracts are annoying to add insult to injury. I always seem to buy phones right as the manufacturers release new ones. So for iPhones, they always release them in the third quarter, Aaron. It's funny. I am on a contract now because I subsidized my Galaxy S7, but for the longest time, and they still call me about it. It'll be interesting to see what they say because my contract with Fido is $56 for 2 gigabytes, and I've had that for about 4 years now. And keep calling me, or they used to keep telling me to upgrade my contract, but it's $10 for a gig over, and my equivalent now would be about $80. So I can do 5 gigs before it doesn't make sense, but whatever. Blaze Cersei, best waterproof case for the 6S. I've got that. There's a top 10 guide for the waterproof cases on my website. Enorigs Sonnet, hiya. Would you recommend Spigen Ultra Hybrid versus the Oddbox student? I don't know. Haven't used a hybrid version 2 yet. I've got like 5 downstairs that Spigen sent to me, so I will be able to answer that question soon. Jordan Smith, will the Rhino bumper fit with the screen protector? So I haven't reviewed it yet, Jordan, but the edge-to-edge screen protector from Rhino Shield is pretty good, or from Evolute Labs is pretty good, and it will work with the bumper that they have. Vanilla-ish, I upgrade every 3 to 4 years. Still have an iPhone 6. If the iPhone 8 shows promise, may upgrade this year. I think the iPhone 8 will show promise. Just how much? We'll know. We guess we will find out. So, guys, I'm going to wrap it up because I've got about 3 videos to film. I'm gone for the weekend, so I have to get all this stuff out before the weekend. Anyways, thanks for sticking around. I do apologize again for not letting you guys know ahead of time about these live streams, so I'm glad that you guys stuck around. So if you guys have anything you want me to talk about, you have questions for me, like, what kind of apps I use for certain things, let me know through Twitter or Instagram or through Facebook, or send me an email, and I'll do a live stream about it. These things are pretty fun. I'm enjoying doing them. It's a lot more interactive. So that's kind of, I had a banana right before this video, and it's like my body's like consuming it and being very gassy. Anyways, see you guys later. Monty says bye too.